for this morning. Thank you for giving us a good night rest. Some of us are feeling a little bit tired, but Lord, we lift up this time in your hands. Holy Spirit, come and speak to each one of us, Lord. Help us learn something important from this class. And Lord, may you move our hearts according to your will. We dedicate this time in your hands. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, so we've been talking about who. You got to know at least one name. What's the name that's important that we talked about this past few weeks? It's even written on the board, so you can actually cheat right over there. Who is that? We're talking about Nehemiah, right? Nehemiah. Yeah. So just to refresh our memory just a little bit, let's read through the storyline. Okay. So Roy, I'm gonna pick on you. All right. So can you please read the storyline for us on the first page? Which page?
Oh, this one. After 70 years in exile, the Jews had been on and rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem. They were able to worship God in their own land, but cities still lay in ruins. The once great capital of the promised land was the blessing level he exposed to her enemies. When Nehemiah hears this, he sets out to destroy the city walls.
That's right.
The book of Nehemiah is his story in his own words. The book of Nehemiah is about reestablishing God's people both physically and spiritually.
Right. The next page, please.
In the first part of the Nehemiah restores Jerusalem in a physical sense. When Nehemiah hears that he was Jerusalem is broken down and its gates burned with fire, he gets permission from Persian King Artaxerxes to rebuild the city. The governors of surrounding territories opposed Nehemiah's efforts, but the war is finished in just 52 days. Nehemiah also restored economic justice in the land, admonishing the wealthy for taking advantage of their less fortunate brothers. And the second section, Nehemiah and Ezra bring spiritual level to Jerusalem. Ezra leads the law of Moses all around to the people, and the nation dedicated to obeying God. Later on, Nehemiah works diligently to point people back to the law of Moses. Nehemiah writes in first person.
Okay, so up to that. Thank you so much. It's a lot of reading, right? Thank you. All right, so we generally remember what the situation was, right? The problem was that Jerusalem, the Israelites sinned against God, so the consequence was that they were cursed, under the curse, which is that they were conquered by another nation, Persia, right? And so people were taken into captivity, and Jerusalem was in ruin, and the walls crumbled, right? And so when Nehemiah, he was a second generation Hebrew Persian, and he was living in Susa, Persia. So like personally, it was not affecting him, and he was actually a high government position official, and he was not affected by the situation. But however, because he was a man of prayer, he inherited the heart of God, right? So he wept the moment he heard the news that the walls crumbled. He started weeping, and he tore his clothes, and he immediately turned to prayers, calling God. You know, you're a great God, and he repented in behalf of his people, although he personally did not sin against God. You know, I and my father's household has sinned against you, and so he was representing the entire people of the Israelites, lifting up the prayers. And then he asked God to come and give him favor, so that he's only one person, and the walls. If you think about the castles and walls, it's a major project, right? So it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of resources, right? He did not have that at that time. So he prayed, Lord, please help me. Give me favor so that I can tackle this project. Because without the walls, Jerusalem can be conquered by any other nations, and more people will be suffering, and that's a disgrace to God, right? And so he prayed, and if you remember, he faced some difficulties on the way. Okay, first of all, he won the favor of the king. The king was not necessarily a good king, but because of his prayers, God changed his mind, and he said, "Oh, why don't you go over to Jerusalem and actually start rebuilding the walls," which is very unusual, right? So that permission was given. So that was wonderful. But then he actually went down. Okay, so we're gonna look at the rest of the story today and see how it goes. True. Okay, so we're gonna go around just like we always do, and read one verse each person, or two verses each person. Okay. So Trump, can you please read 1 and 2?
In the month of Nisan, in the 20 year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was brought for him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. I have not been set in his presence before. So the king asked me, why does your face look so sad when you are not ill? And this can be nothing but sadness.
Sadness of heart.
I was very much afraid.
Okay, Roy?
But I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face now look sad when the city where my ancestors are built for lies in lines, and its gates have been destroyed by fire? The king said to me, why is it you want? Then I prayed to the God of heaven.
Let's see. Vivian, can you please read 5 and 6?
And I answered the king, if it please the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city in
Judah.
where my
Ancestors
are
buried.
so that I can rebuild it. Then the king with the queen sitting beside him asked me, how long will your journey take, and when will you get back? It pleased the king to send me, so I set a time.
Audrey, please, 7 and 8.
I also said to him, if it please to king, may I have letter to the
Governors.
governors of
Trans-Euphrates.
Trans Euphrates, so that they will
Provide.
provide me safe conduct until I arrive in
Judah. Uh-huh.
And may I have a letter to Alfie, keeper of the Royal Park, so he will give me timber to make be bank for the gate of the
Citadel.
by the temple and for the city. Well, and for the besides I will occur and because the
Gracious.
hand of my God was on me. The king grant my request.
Right. So we can kind of see the background, right? All right. Verse 10. Let's see, Eric.
When
Sambalat.
or
Hornet.
the Hornet, the
Tobiah.
the
Ammonite.
Ammonite official heard about this. They were very much distribute that someone had come to promote the welfare of the Israelites.
Uh-huh. 11.
I went to the Jerusalem, and after staying there 3 days, I set out during the night with a few others. I had not told anyone what God had put in my heart to do for the Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
There were no mouths
Mouths with me.
except the one I was riding on.
Xingwen? Xingwen.
By the night I went out through the valley gate towards the Jacob well and the dawn gate, examining the wall of the Jerusalem, which had been broken down, and its gate, which had been
Destroyed by fire.
destroyed by fire. Then I moved on toward the fountain gate and the king pool, but there was not enough room for my mounts to get through. So I went up the valley at night, examining the wall. Finally, I turned back and returned through the valley gate. The official did not know where I had gone or what I was doing, because as yet I have said nothing to the Jews or the priests or nobles or official or any other who could be doing the work.
Churn?
Then I said to them, you see the chapel? We are in Jerusalem, like in run. And Israel have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in this race.
18.
I also told them about the riches, hand of my God on me, and what the king had said to me. They replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work.
All right. Alright, so at first he didn't have anything. He was just one person, right? Whose heart was broken that the walls in ruin, and he just felt the urge, like urgent need to rebuild it. That was it, right? But he had nobody else on his side. He had no resources, alright? So how do you think he tackled the problem? At first he prayed to God, right? To get favor from the king so that he could get the permission. If he can't get away, if he can't get a leave from the king, he can't do anything, right? So that's the first thing that he did. And then what else did he do in order to tackle the situation? He had no resources, but he asked the king to send a letter to Asaph, who must be in charge of some kind of material resources, right? He had all the construction materials, like the woods, or the materials for the beams, the houses, right? Yeah. So he asked for the materials, and then what else did he do? He asked for a letter to be sent out, like letters to be sent out, especially around like Trans-Euphrates areas, so that when he passes through the gates, because although he's a high government official, he is supposed to be serving the king. And if people see him, oh, he's a Jew, right? He's a captive, second generation of the captive, and plus he's supposed to be with the king. And where is he going, right? So they might be wondering. So they can, the guards can keep him, like you can't pass through, okay, until we ask and inquire about the situation, right? So then he needed the letters to be sent out so that whenever he passes through the gates, they already have been informed that he's coming through, that his pathway would not be blocked, right? What else? All right, I want to ask you this question. Yeah, and then what did he do? He gathered a few people around him. Did they know what his purpose was? He had a few people, say, I don't know exactly how many, so let's say 3 or 4 people he took with him. 3 people he took with him, let's say that, okay? Did they know why he was going down there? According to what you just read. They did not know, right? They didn't know. Simply because he said, let's go. Let's go check it out. So they went, right? Did he let other people know, like the priests, those important people, the stakeholders, even the Jewish people? Like, did he let them know what he was doing? No, not at all, right? It says he did not let anybody know, like 2 times. That must have been very important, right? And then he and 3 other people went down to Jerusalem to do what? To do what? Maybe I should show you this part. What did he do? Why did he go down there? To inspect the walls. So, sure. When you do cabinet projects, do you just make them, or do you actually go to their kitchen and kind of inspect?
No, just let people do by themselves first, and then when we have a layout, and then they have to take a layout, go over there to double check.
Right. So you have to go out there at least once, right? Trying to see what the situation is. If the because without seeing that, if you just make the cabinets, what if it doesn't fit? Yeah. So actually, you have to first go down there and check. Yeah. So that's what he was doing, right? Not exactly your situation, but his inspection is much more broad, right? Much broader than like kitchen inspection, right? But it's inspection, right? How many of you have ever tackled on like building, like not yourself, but told a contractor to build a house or build something? I've never done it either, but it looks like a very, very long process, you know, meticulous inspection. You have to plan out carefully. You have to, like, if you have been living there and you have to renovate the house, it's a different story too. How many of you have renovated your house? No? Really? All right. So, how many of you have seen, experienced a little bit of like construction sites?
Not really. because
Not really. Oh, okay.
Everything's new, so I don't have to renovate it.
Oh, you're from a privileged background. Okay, I see. So, yeah, even renovation, even renovating your old house or old room, like even one room, it's a complicated process. Okay? You have to do communication all the time. You have to think through how you're going to actually spend the time. Are you going to live there while the renovation is going on, which is a terrible idea. If you can, ever possible, you need to live outside, but how are you going to live outside and maintain your, if it's going to be like 3 months, 6 months, or a year, okay? How are you going to manage your life out there? All right, if your kids are going to school, if you have to go to work and things like that, okay, it's kind of complicated. So even renovation of an apartment or of a house is very complicated, right? So he first goes down to Jerusalem, which is a long trip, along with his fellow, and he examines the walls, right? Okay, so what's usable, what's recyclable, what needs to be thrown out, what needs to be cleaned. Okay, so you have to clean out first, right? And dig enough. If the wall is supposed to stand, you can't just build on like rubble ground, right? You have to dig, you have to make the ground level. There's a whole process. And by the way, he did not have manpower at that time. You know that? So first of all, he did not have the materials. So that's why he asked the king to send a letter to Asa so he could get the resources. Wow, what a bold movement. Okay, he just barely got a permission from the king to be away, because when he's away, somebody else has to substitute for his position, which is very important. He was a cupbearer to the king, critical position. Okay, and maybe he gave advices to the king too. He was a smart guy, well educated, and so while he's away, somebody else has to take the position. It affects the king. So he may not be very, very happy about this situation, but God moved his heart, so he gave permission. But now he's like, all right, give me the materials. The king does not benefit anything from this project, by the way. Okay? Hi, come on in. You can sit closer. The reason this is really unusual is because the king doesn't get anything from it. If he gets anything, maybe these guys, because they increase in number, they're rebuilding the wall, they may revolt against him. It's a minus for him, right? He's taking a risk, right? So there's nothing good for him, but he allowed that. So now he has the materials, okay? So now you understand the power of prayer. So why he prayed before he started doing anything. Yeah, because that was, if you can change things in the spiritual realm, and when I say change, it looks like it's all like my might. But when you click with God's heart, like when God has given you a certain vision and you respond to it and you collaborate with God by prayer, then things, the gates start to open. For Nehemiah, that was the case. It says directly, because God's hand was upon me, I won the favor of the king. He said that, right? He said that to his people. All right, so now that he's materials, now the problem is the manpower, because you can't go out there, he's not even a construction worker. He's a government official, and so he cannot personally dig the ground and bring out the materials. Like, no, that's not gonna work, right? Think about a building project. That's not gonna work by one person. And especially when they didn't have like today's technology. They didn't have the cranes, they didn't have the drills or anything like that. They had to do everything by hands, right? Then you needed the manpower. However, the manpower could not be just anybody. You cannot grab anybody from the street because then they will not have the same heart with him. So he had to find people with the same heart, right? So what did he do? What did he do? Eric, what did he do to get the manpower?
Okay. I'm not sure. Let's see. They burn with fire. With their
Yeah, the Persians did.
yeah. They burn with the fire with their self.
No,
No.
it was by the enemies.
Oh. I
Right.
see.
So I'm just giving you a hint. What did Nehemiah do in order to get the manpower?
They rebuilt.
To rebuild? Yeah.
Rebuilt the wall of
He said, "Come, let us rebuild the wall." Right? Who is he saying this to? The fellow Jews. Or not the fellow Jews, but the Jews who were living in Jerusalem. By the way, the Jews that were living in Jerusalem, it affects their daily life. The walls are not there. Right? Anybody can come in, probably they've been robbed, thieves come in all the time, right? Even the wild animals can come in because the walls are in ruin, right? So their daily life was affected. Hi. So then, he's not talking to those people in Persia, no. He's talking to the people who are living there, right? And he said, "My brothers, you see the trouble we are in." And by the way, he said the word "we." He did not say, "Look at the trouble that you're in," because I'm over there, right? He said, "Look at the trouble that we are in." He says, "Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been burned with fire. And look at your life; it's without protection, and your condition is really bad right now. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, because it's affecting your life, daily life. I can see that. You know what? I'm here for you. Why don't you join me and let's rebuild it?" Right? What he's doing. So we just saw how he actually tackled the problem. So how he actually gathered the materials and
So what he's doing is he try to persuade, all the people there and try to get together and build a wall, right?
yes, exactly. Right? And they responded positively. Yeah. So why don't you get together? Okay. Groups of 3 people. All right. So 3 at the back. And Roy, you can get together with Audrey and Vivian and Sharon. Hi. Can you 3 be one group? Okay. So each group discuss what kind of leadership style did Nehemiah utilize? What kind of leadership style did he utilize? Okay, you discuss. Okay, so briefly, the visionary leadership style. What is a visionary? What's a visionary, Eric?
Just by the things you see.
So who casts vision? Like, you know what? Here's the direction that we're supposed to go to. Let's go there, okay? That casting vision, right? So visionary leadership style. What is directional, you think? Directing. What do you think?
Decision.
Make decisions for other people. Like, this is my decision. You guys follow me. Come follow me, all right? Maybe like a Napoleon, all right? How about strategic? Strategies. What's the strategic leadership style? Utilizes strategies. Do you guys know what strategies are? Yeah. Okay. Using your tactics, strategies, right? Managing. There's the managing leadership style. It's like a manager, You organize people, process, and resources to do things right. Okay, so he's not a visionary. The vision has been given by someone else. Okay, and you're supposed to actually put your hands on, because a visionary is typically not okay. There are rare people who are very good at both of them. Welcome. Come on in. Come to the front, please. Yes. No. Come. Come.
Can I sit here?
Is it your husband?
Oh no, my friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's your name?
BT.
PT. Okay, nice to meet you. All right, so we're talking about Nehemiah. The walls in ruin, right? And he's trying to rebuild the walls. We're still looking at chapter 2. If you could briefly look at the storyline on page 16, that would be helpful. Or page 6? Page 6. Okay. Read the storyline and try to have the background at the bottom. Okay? Okay, now, so visionary typically, so there are always exceptions, okay? So visionary leaders tend to have like big dreams, and they have a sense of direction. Okay, this is what we're supposed to be doing. But they're typically not good at actually making it happen. You know what I mean? They're typically not very good at implementing the plans. Okay? Versus the managers, once again, there are exceptions, but managers tend to not have the vision. Like they don't know like which direction, or they don't necessarily know like what the big picture is. But managers are very good at organizing. Oh, you know what? Oh, so this is what we're supposed to be doing? Okay, thank you. Now I'm taking that vision in my hands, and now I'm planning. Okay, how is this going to happen? And I need to organize people. So sort of like, think about like event organization. If there's an event that happens, like a party, like an exhibition, some kind of event, like some kind of gathering, you have to plan, and you have to prepare food, you have to prepare the room, right? And you have to count the heads, how many people. You have to think about like how your message is going to be presented, how your purpose is going to be accomplished, and you have to plan a lot, and you have to organize the whole thing, the people, processes, and the resources, right? So that's what the managers do. So managerial leadership style is different from visionary in that sense. Managers are very good at hands-on, and they're very good at implementing the plan so that things would happen, right? How about motivational? It's self-explanatory, right? Motivational leadership, they motivate people. Okay? Oh, let's do this. So motivational people, once again, there are exceptions, but they're typically very good at like, they bring in positive energy. We can do this. Even if it's an impossible situation, they come and say, we can do this. I just see that it's happening. Oh, come on, Jerome. Come on, Vivian. Come on, Audrey. We can do this. We can do this. So these people, when they show up, people are like motivated, and they feel the pull to have to do something, right? So that's the motivational leadership style. Shepherding, what do you think that is? Shepherd takes care of sheep, right? Shepherding leadership style is that you take care of them. So, of course, accomplishing the project itself is very important, but typically shepherding leadership style is, I need to take care of these people, make sure that they're well, make sure that they are taken care of, and make sure, so you want to make sure that their well-being is ensured. So you want to make sure that emotionally, physically, relationally, financially, in every aspect, you're well. Okay? Team building, these people are typically the ones who are like the glue. There are people, different people, like even in your small groups, right? Everyone's different. Everyone has a different personality. You come from different backgrounds, different countries, different cultures, different work experiences, right? Different understanding level and everything, right? But there's like a glue kind of person. So when this person shows up, like he or she, people feel like, you know, I'm not sure about other people, but because of this person, like I think I can remain in this group. Like I want to come to this group because of this group, you know. So that's the kind of person. Team building. Entrepreneurial. What do you think this is? By the vocabulary word. Eric, what do you think it is?
Company, the manager, the
Somebody who takes risks, who tries something new.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. Someone who has this, who likes trying new things. Okay, you know, this is not working out. Let me try something new. Okay, that's the entrepreneurial. They're very creative and they're willing to take high risks. Okay, and so these are just a very few of the many different leadership styles. So what I'm asking you to do in your small groups right now. So by reading Nehemiah 2, all right, Nehemiah 2. And by the way, this is the only time you can utilize your phone in order to check Nehemiah chapter 2. Okay? According to Nehemiah chapter 2, what we just read, okay? What's his leadership style? Discuss. I'll give you 10 minutes. All right? So, why don't you, do you mind? Okay, how are you going to get together to learn this out? So, let's get back together as a big group. Let's go around like this. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoever is representing the group, okay, try to answer this couple of questions. What kind of leadership is Nehemiah and why do you think so?
Okay. So in my group, we think he have mixed kind of leadership style.
Oh, so he's a mixture, okay.
Mixture, because he has the vision that what he gonna do. He didn't tell, but he planned inside.
Oh.
His head.
Oh.
And then he have the entrepreneurship because he willing to take the risk.
Oh, I see.
That is my understanding. I don't know right or wrong. And then to ask the king, and he already have the managing because direction, and he know what he gonna have by asking him the letter to have the permit for the official to get in there.
I see.
And then he know that everything have to have the people to build it. And finally, he has strategy that he go inside the Jerusalem and look at the thing that start big out, telling the people in there, and to get the thing. Finally, he get the thing that he want to do.
Right. Wow. Yes. That's amazing. That's amazing. By the way, there's no one correct answer. I'm not looking for one correct answer. So like, how you see it is how you see it. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Team DOS.
I think he's pretty much like number 2 to number 8, everything except number 1.
Really? Okay.
I think yeah,
Why do you think so?
because he has a strategic, pretty much like he's saying that we not because he's from outside, so he said we. So he's trying to like
Persuasive.
motivate or to
I see.
to strategic with the people there and try to
So his
try to
speech.
build team.
Yeah. In order to build team, he utilized his speech, which is kind of strategic.
Yeah.
But the purpose was to motivate people, right?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So
And then?
and also he has his own strategy, like he tried to not motivate. He tried to entrepreneur too, like
Uh-huh.
the people there too. Like first he tried to become themselves, like become the people there, and then then after he tried to entrepreneur or to persuade,
I
to
see.
teach the people there how to we have to build the wall there.
Right. So let me ask you this question. What are the risks? Okay, so first of all, yes, wonderful. He approached the king. He could have a sad long face and he could have been beheaded. So he's taking a major risk. And so before that he prayed so that God would help him, right?
Yeah.
And so God actually changed the king's heart. The king was known for his bad temper, actually, Artaxerxes, but his heart was so moved. And so that was also a strategic move, wasn't it? And then he approached with the risk. What other risks did he have to face? Because two teams are talking about risks. What other risks?
Risk is the people there may not trust you because you're from outside. You're not like their religion.
Right, you don't even live here. Like, why are you here? Are you sure that this is something that can be done? Because where are you gonna get the resources? Like, where are you gonna get the organized manpower? Like, are you sure? You know, and they may not trust them. And are you here for your own gain? You know, or are you here for us?
But
Yes.
but he kind of he have some, how can I say, he have the letter,
He has a letter.
and he have the letter for the thing.
But then, yes, of course, you know, I think people were able to see kind of that he was not there for his gain, but you know, was trying to help them. But then it sounds a little bit strange because like he's a high government official over there. He's not affected by the situation. Why are you down here? And with the letter from King Artaxerxes, because Jews were conquered by Persian Empire. King Artaxerxes was a Persian king, and he sent out a letter so that Nehemiah could pass through all the gates and tackle this project without no problem. But they must be thinking like, how is this possible? A letter from King Artaxerxes to rebuild a wall so that we can get together, like a company. That's so like that doesn't make sense, right?
So the people there have no choice to whether to refuse him.
Oh
because
no.
he has a letter.
Oh, it was not an order.
It's not an order.
It was not an order. It was only a permission,
Oh.
so that Nehemiah, whenever he passed through the gates, that people will open up the gates for him. Yeah, no one would block him. Yeah.
Oh.
So there was no like compulsory aspect to this at all. It was totally voluntary. Yeah. Yeah. So then it looks a little bit weird, and because he's an outsider, you know, people are like, oh, okay. Because first generation and second generation look kind of different. Do you feel that? Those people who were born and raised here, they look a little bit different than we look, right? Those who are 1.5ers or immigrants, you know, we look a little bit different. So then there's a little bit of time. Well, something has to be done in order to gain their trust and respect. Well, not just for the cause, but because this project is so massive, and people they were living in captivity. They were living in ruins, so they don't have the comfortable life. It's already hard on them. And on top of that, you want us to sacrifice our time, leave behind our family, and go out and do this project. You know, so there could be resistance from the people. Yes, for that reason. Yeah. So there's another risk. Yes, trust issue. What other risks?
Do they have a language issue? Like, do they speak the same language?
Oh, good question. Nehemiah, I believe she was fluently bilingual, or trilingual. Yeah. Because Jewish people are known to pass down their language very well. Yeah. Yeah. What other risks? I think another risk might have been that. What if this project does not succeed?
Yeah.
What if it doesn't go? And he
Well-
faced some situations actually. He faced adversaries. Yes.
Yeah, because he tell all the plan to the king before the king give him the letter.
Uh-huh.
That's why when you say it's some kind like some promising, something
Mhm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then another is like, as you say, if the thing that you tell the king to get everything done, it
Right.
not go with the plan.
Right.
They're gonna be next of July because you get the
That's
license.
right. Okay, so he's away only for a certain period of time. He can't be out there forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has to be. It has to be done within a short period of time, a relatively short period of time, which is a big burden on him. And there are opponents like Horonites and Ammonites. They were opponents. They did not want. They were alarmed already. Oh, he's coming down for the welfare of the Jews. Okay, we're threatened. So let's go bother them. Let's keep them from succeeding. So there's a failure, possibility of failure. If he fails, then he not only loses the respect from the Jews, which is a big problem because there's a lot of sacrifice that has to be done. And then if he fails, what if he goes back to the king? You wasted all my resources and my time and everything, and you did not succeed with the project. So that's a big risk, right? So he's facing some risk there. All right. Team 3.
Well, he actually made a decision, so I think number 2 is
Number 3, strategic.
No, number 2.
2. Okay. Directional. Okay.
And he made a team,
Uh-huh.
so number 7 is team building, and we just discussed a list about it, so number 8 is going.
Oh, okay. So you talked about the risk. Okay, wonderful. Why do you think it was directional? That's something that's different from other teams' opinions. So.
They said, he said that they make the wall. He actually said that, so that's like a making decision.
Oh, he came with a plan, and so that's what you mean by directional.
Yeah, every time he make that plan and decision. So.
Okay, so there's a directional aspect to it because he planned out carefully and he had envisioned already how it's going to take place. But at the same time, you said team building, which is wonderful because it has to be a team effort. Like even if he stands there, okay, you go do this, don't do that, it's not gonna happen because he's an outsider and he's only one person, right? But by team building, like what does it take for a person to build a team, you think?
That's why I say I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
I don't like.
what do you think? What does it take for you to build a team? You've been in leadership before. What does it take for you to build a team? And you guys also have like work experience. You've been in a team before, right? What do you think? Imagine yourself like in that situation. Like, what would motivate you? Like, what would?
Everybody has their own strength.
Oh, okay. So
they
recognize.
And everybody shares with others, incorporate it, get together with others, and to pursue the same object.
Oh, so the same goals. The goal has to be mutually beneficial then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. And then utilize their strengths. So then whoever the central leadership is has to recognize the strength of each individual then, right? Or each group. Okay. All right. Wonderful. And he also has to, he or she, but in this case Nehemiah, he has to recognize his own strengths and weaknesses. Like, what am I lacking? Where do I need help? Right? Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Thank you, group 3. See? Did a good job. Group 4. Who's the leader in this, or representative?
believe of the motivational.
Motivational. Why?
He tells others.
Listen carefully.
He said, "Come on, let's rebuild it, and we will no longer be in disgrace." So they motivate others to come to their hearts to the same goal.
Oh, very important. Okay, so he said motivational leadership before anything else, right? And he tried to motivate people by presenting what the problem was. Look at what we got here,
Yeah.
right? It's in ruin. You're living in a bad condition.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's disgrace to God,
Yeah.
which is central to their identity, like God and them, because they believe that themselves, first and foremost, as people of God before anything else. Before they're Jews or whatever, man, woman, leader of a household, or whatever their professions were, their identity was, I'm a people of God, I'm a person of God. And so if God is in disgrace because the city of God and the surrounding walls are in ruins, that means disgrace to God. So okay, look, this is a central problem. This is a very critical issue that you have right now. And so presenting the problems, and what else did he do in order to motivate people? Yeah, so first of all, he presented the problems. What else did he do? Other teams can actually chime in as well. How else did he motivate? Eric just mentioned, right? He said, we and us, let us do this. So identifying himself
as them.
as one of them. Yes, I'm one of you. Yeah, wonderful. And how else did he motivate people? It's not straightforward, but it's implied in the speech that he gave. Implied. He did not, although there were many obstacles, and he only had material resources, but probably there were a lot of unknowns and uncertainties, right? But he did not mention those things. Okay, I got the letter from the king, and I have the material resources, and they are on the way, but I don't have them right here. I'm not quite sure how long it's gonna take, but I know that you have to leave your home, and I'm not quite sure, but let's do this. Does it sound convincing?
So no order, think together.
Before that, what I'm saying is, he presented the problems. He said, let's do it. Let us do it. I'm one of you. But did he ever say, okay, what the risks are? I'm not sure about how long it's gonna take. There could be opponents. No. Why? In his motivational speech, he did not say that. Why?
Why? Because he wanted to persuade the people to get together with him.
Because he wanted to convey to them, I am confident of this, that we can do it. This is possible. Actually, it was a really shaky project. Do you know that? It was a very, very shaky project with many factors, unknown factors, and adversities. He wasn't sure how long it was going to take in order to finish that. But he said it with such confidence and conviction. He was not lying to people. That's not like lying or covering up, no. But he only emphasized the aspects that this is possible. Let's do this. Let's take the risk, okay? And so later, if you read further chapters, there are some sections where people start complaining. Oh, this is way too hard. This is as we started doing this, we didn't see this difficulties before. Now it's too hard. We can't do this, okay? And there are enemies that come and bother them, threatening them. Are you planning to revolt against the king? Is that why you're doing this project? there were threats. Okay, and so people started complaining, and he had to deal with internal issues of complaints, and he also had to deal with the issues of external attacks. Yeah, he was in a squeezed place. Like he had to really exercise his leadership in order to tackle this project, to finish this project.
He had a limited time too, right?
Limited time, yes. He has to go back to the king.
How long is the
Uh,
time?
There was no specific specific days, but he was given, I believe that when the king said, go away, he had certain expectation that he would come back in certain period of time. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but it was not too long because he needed him. Yeah. All right, wonderful. I'll go. This is getting kind of interesting. So, are you learning something from this? All right, are you learning? All right. In order to help you learn, pick up something to apply in your own life. Although you're not involved in construction business, I know, but there are principles that you can learn from this, right? And so I want you to go ahead and actually tackle this case study as a team. All right. So say you are in charge of a project. Okay. So okay, this computer is acting up. People don't have the shelters. Okay, in Uganda, like have you seen some news? It's different by region, but let's say this region, they had a natural disaster. Okay, so all the shelters are destroyed. Okay, and the wells are covered with ashes, and it's no longer good for drinking. Okay, and there has been no schools. Okay. The only hospital that is far away, that's not going to do because people need help right now, right? Okay, so the town is in ruins, and you want to help rebuild a town in Uganda. All you have is your heart to help them, okay? And then you only have the financial resources to cover yourself. Like you can live with your income. And by the way, you are able to get the resources, just like Nehemiah, to either build a hospital or build a few shelters, or you dig a few wells. Okay, so you have the money, financial resources to do one of these, not all. Okay, so it takes all of this to rebuild a town. Okay, but by the way, you have to choose only one of them because you only have the financial resources to do one. Okay, but by the way, the time that you're given 10 years. So it's not like you're given just 1 year. Like in 1 year you can do only one project. But because you have the time, there are some other possibilities as well. But for now, you only have the financial resources to do only one of those 4. Okay. By the way, it takes all of them in order to rebuild a town. All right. And by the way, manpower-wise, you and there's only other person who has the same heart. Okay. So 2 of you. So how are you going to approach this project? How are you going to actually? So your vision is to help rebuild a town. That's your ultimate vision. So how are you going to actually approach how are you going to actually start? Where are you going to start? Okay? You only found another person. You don't know him very well. But this person has the same heart. Like you saw the news, you watched the news, and somebody tweeted it, and you just found out that this other person has the same heart. And so just 2 of you. And obviously two of you cannot rebuild a town, right? Even with the financial resources. So why don't you go ahead and discuss? Okay. No problem.
So what you want to do.
So how are you going to start? Okay. Okay. So ultimately, how are you going to rebuild the town? Is the question.
Okay.
All right. So, and these are the questions that you might want to consider.
But you already find one person who have the same goal as you.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I'll give you 5 minutes. This time it should be a little bit easier. Okay. All right. Now go. So okay. So in the end, you want to see all of them happen.
Yeah, because when we start the first thing and then you can have the thing that connect to the other thing by the local. But you have to show the local how to get the result right away.
Oh.
Because the people they cannot see the long plan. What's gonna happen? But you can show them and you can get credit and people gonna help you to build their own community.
So present an attainable goal.
Yeah,
That-
like for example, or if you say the school, they cannot think about the school. They don't have things to eat.
Right.
And if you show them, okay, you do build the water and you can use the water, how they can go to get them the better life. And the thing gonna be connected. And it's not only you have to, if you want to build something in the new community, you have to let people in that community build their own community to help you.
Oh.
And then in yourself, you can have the partner and you can ask for the organization that willing to help them. And then you have more the financial resource by your own.
So utilize the local residents,
Yeah.
motivate them. Okay.
Yeah, but the way that you motivate the local residents is mean you show them the result. And you
And
show them the how important, what you're gonna get, you know.
Yeah. So. So with your partner, find ways to get organizational help.
I'm sorry?
So find ways to.
You talk to your partner and want to know the partner idea and show your idea. And you can compromise that idea to get the plan.
Right. So have a common goal.
Yeah.
Discuss with your partnership, and you said utilize. So brainstorm with your partner as to how you can get like other organizations help, not just 2 people, but help from other organizations.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you know, you have 2 people, even the one that you get the limit financial resource, but they didn't give you limit for actual sponsor.
Right.
And they have the thing that budget for that kind of thing.
And especially if you're targeting to get everything done.
Yeah.
In 10 years, you
Yeah.
need like a constant, constant provision, constant support, financially, mentor-wise.
Financially and the local. Because if you build a new community, rebuild a town, it means you have to have people want to rebuild the same goal with you.
Right.
And the thing that you show the people who have, just show them the result.
So show them the short-term result that this is possible.
Result, yeah. And when they
So maybe start with one well then.
Yeah, one well, and then when the well done, they know, before they don't have water, and now they have water for drinking. And it's convenient, something like that.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I would love to hear from like rest of the groups, but I think you are also hungry.
Yeah.
So you're probably not motivated to discuss further or present further, so I'll let you go. But next time you come in, we'll try to come up with some more ideas. This is wonderful. Did you learn something out of this? All right. So let's close with prayers. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time, Lord. Thank you for giving us different leadership models and thank you for giving us good teams to brainstorm together so that we can think about how we can actually exercise our leadership in order to accomplish a common goal. And Father God, we ask you that you will continue to teach us, even through the Bible and through the leadership lessons, Lord, through real cases and through the narratives in the Bible as well, Father. And Lord, give us the wisdom so that we can go out and actually be the salt and light to the world wherever we are, and that we'll be equipped with the wisdom and strength and ideas to be able to bring kingdom on this earth. We thank you, Lord, in Christ's name.